Hello, travelers. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about the competition within the desert biome. So with competition in general, there's two terms that you need to know. So there's intraspecific competition and interspecific competition. Intraspecific competition means that organisms of the same species are competing for the resources that they need with each other. So organisms of the same species are competing with one another. Okay, while interspecific competition is organisms of two different species competing for resources that they both require. So they both need this similar resource, and so as a result they're competing for it. Okay, so an easy way to remember this is with intraspecific competition and interspecific competition. They're quite similar in names. They can sound the same. So way to remember is with intraspecific competition, it says that it has an A, right? And inter, it does not. So an intraspecific has an A, and A could be like alike. So it's intraspecific. The A means alike. So it's organisms that are alike, same species, right? And then with interspecific competition, the E could stand for like external. So it's like external species, right? So organisms of, two different, not the same species are competing. So that's an easy way to remember it. And I am actually going to walk a little and see if I could find them in real life so you could see for yourself. So I'll update you guys when I get there. Hi, travelers. So unfortunately, I could not find the competition between the sidewinder rattlesnake and desert coyote happening in real time. However, I did find the sidewinder rattlesnake and I took a picture of it. So here's the picture. So this is the sidewinder rattlesnake. Okay, anyway. So I will just describe this interspecific competition between these two organisms. So basically they both hunt for the same, they have a similar food source. So they both consume the pocket mouse, okay? And since they both consume the pocket mouse, they're both competing over who will eat that pocket mouse. Not obviously there's not one, but they're both competing over this organism. And so over time, their co-evolution might occur because if they're both competing and whichever species has a better adaptation, they will be the ones who get the pocket mouse, right? So over time, co-evolution is going to result where one species gets an adaptation that allows them to consume this pocket mouse, while the other species will be like, oh, they're doing this, we need to be better. So then they're going to step up, they're going to adapt, the best individuals who are able to hunt this pocket mouse will reproduce, and adaptations will occur over time. And this is essentially when co-evolution happens. So they would continuously adapt to the environment. So that is what is happening essentially with the sidewinder rattlesnake and the desert coyote. So that is the relationship of interspecific competition. Hello, travelers. So I have an update on the interspecific competition. So basically, I was walking and I encountered a desert coyote, obviously from afar, but I was able to take this picture and I thought you guys might want to see what this organism looks like. So I also wanted to show you guys a picture, just a picture of the pocket mouse, because I thought it would be best if you had a visual of what these two different species were hunting for, right? So this is what the pocket mouse looks like. So yeah, now we can move on to the intraspecific competition. So this competition between organisms of the same species. I will return when I encounter these organisms representing this competition. Okay, welcome back, travelers. So I have encountered some cacti, and here they are. I'm going to be careful not to touch them. And so basically, these cacti, they're kind of unique. Okay, basically, they have an intraspecific competition between them as well as an interspecific competition, because there are many different species of cacti. So I just found cacti and I'd talk about them. But just remember that there are some species of the same cacti, and it's intraspecific competition, and these organisms have a competition between one another. Okay, and some of these cacti are also of different species, right? And so that also demonstrates an interspecific competition. So what I wanted to talk about with the cacti is that various cacti, so in general, so this could be either between the same species or of different species. So the cacti are competing with one another for resources. Okay, and they're doing this because there isn't that much water in deserts. Okay, there's not that much water. The water's scarce. So essentially, these cacti don't grow close to one another, which is shown. And that's because they want their roots to extend out to be able to grasp all this water, to take up all the water. And the roots are where the competition is really happening, right? Because the roots are going to compete for the space beneath the ground to see which roots are going to absorb, the most water. And obviously, the individual organism, the individual cactus that takes up the most water will probably be the one that survives the longest, or something, or that will reproduce the most, or something like that, right? So so some cacti do have a uniform distribution, which is basically when they're spaced somewhat evenly in a pattern apart, and they're competing for the same resources, and they just want to have their own space, so they're taking up the water that way. They're making sure none of them, they're trying to prevent the competition, but obviously as the roots grow out, it's going to occur at some point in time. However, other cacti do have a random distribution, which shows that the water can be found in many places underneath the ground in the desert biome. Some cacti just turn out to be closer to one another and therefore have a uniform distribution, while other cacti are in a random distribution and they're just wherever they want to be because they just need to be able to take up water. That's their only goal. So these are the cacti. Please remember that there are many different species of cacti, such as this or this or this, and put that one, that. Okay, so the cacti are kind of like an interspecific and intraspecific, but then you have like an example, two examples of interspecific kind of, and one example of intraspecific. Okay, so this was the competition aspect. And if you want to see more videos, if you want to learn more, just keep clicking. Thank you.